Hey gang, how's everybody doing? Sorry we started just a few minutes late. We had just a little bit of not connection difficulty. It was just a matter of format clarification. I was waiting for Travis to hop on, and it turned out that I had missed the text, and so he finally sent one back that he was actually in transit. This is one of those times where he's all occupied trying to do the types of things that help build team legacy and everything, and so he was not going to be on, so he wanted me just to kind of run solo today. I know you got a chance to run with Lisa last week, and I missed out just due to my travel, so I'm taking over today, and we're going to spend some solo time. What I want to do is, we've talked with Travis about where things are going and how the team process and some of the next steps of evolution in the Mint path and Mint journey for Team Legacy are going, and we're actually very excited about it. Travis is going to hit the road for some Mint meetups with a lot of you, and he's coordinating that so that you, and particularly on a localized basis, can have the opportunity to bring people, because it's not just about finding those who may see what you see and want to be a part of something. It's about truly building a camaraderie and a team connectedness that is extremely strong and powerful. The magic of network marketing, though people aren't numbers, it is a numbers business. But the reality is it still comes back to people. In today's world, what's really evolved over the years of network marketing, and particularly the last couple of decades, as technology has enabled us to reach further than each of the standard Saturday training where you built, when I started in the profession 25 years ago, the technology we have today obviously didn't even exist, and everything was driven by meeting. Everything was driven by a standard set schedule. Leadership in various markets even went so far as to actually come together and jointly defray the expense of office locations. So there was like a standard Tuesday meeting in one area, a Thursday night meeting in another area, then a Saturday training that everyone could centrally come to and travel to on the weekend. Then that was a weekly process. There might be eventually then a conference call on a Wednesday night, maybe a Monday leadership thing. But it was about the connections that can only be created when you can look somebody dead in the eye and shake hands, give that hug of recognition and greeting again, because it's the family that's come together. It was interesting. We were, Lisa and I had an opportunity to be at one of Eric Worre's masterminds in Cabo a few months back. And we were there with some really successful and significant earners from around the world. People in from the UK, people in from Australia, some people domestically. And we had an opportunity one evening to sit around, and Eric tossed out a great question. He said, name one thing, or maybe multiple things, but let's just begin a conversation. Name a thing that comes to mind that you used to do with great success that you don't do anymore, or that for whatever reason you've just stopped doing. And there were a lot of great ideas in conversation. But one of the things that came up, and then we all went deeper and we discussed it more deeply and we went back into it, it was the lost art of the local meeting. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit, because that's kind of, I think, the next stage of evolution. If you take a look at some of the companies that long-term have established the greatest sustainability, they have stood the test of time. They are icons in our profession. Everyone has adopted modern communication technologies. Every company has a presence online. Every company has a website. Most companies already have or are moving towards making sure they've got a mobile app, so that in a world of, in a world where such a dramatic percentage of the total global population has a cell phone, and where the growth of smartphone penetration in the cellular connected world is growing so dramatically, we all see in the next 3 to 5 years everybody's going to be wandering around smartphones. In lesser developed regions of the world where there is no television, where there is no even computer access, there's going to be mobile access. In the Google projects, lifting balloon network satellites so that there's that access to cellular communication, it's going to be absolutely extraordinary. And so as we see that, we realize that there are communication technologies that are going to help and support, but it doesn't replace ever the power of people coming together as human beings, creating that true personal human connection, that person-to-person connection, that that ability to build relationships, that suddenly there's that camaraderie and there's that teamwork, and there all of a sudden becomes this incredibly powerful synergy of people who, as they come together, they're super supportive and helping drive each other to their goals and dreams. For those who then choose, in addition to reaching out via Facebook, reaching out via Twitter, reaching out via social mediums of all kinds, moving through hangouts and moving through webinars and conference calls and reaching as far and wide as they possibly can, both domestically and internationally, there will be those who also realize that one of the things they could do to embed their business going beyond their farthest distance reach is also to create each in themselves, because if you've got team members that are all around the country, the question is, what might we also do to create some of that localization? If you look at some of the companies today that are experiencing some of the most dramatic week-over-week, quarter-over-quarter growth, domestic companies particularly, that are doing amazing numbers, and they have yet to reach out internationally. And they certainly will be able to, but just in terms of what they're doing just domestically, every single one of them, without exception, every single one has a core foundation that is an in-home or a local hotel-driven meeting on a consistent weekly basis that's happening. So it's not that they don't reach out long distance, they do. But they reach out, and at the same time, they've built into their culture the ability to coach and mentor and teach and show people how to also embed strength locally. Now, we can go on a lot of this stuff in more detail, but let me share with you something and why localized meetings as a next stage and local Mint meetups and those types of things really will create huge foundational strength in your business as you go forward, and how you would duplicate that process. And then we'll talk about things that we're working with Travis on so that there can literally become a standardized process for the legacy team within Mint that can allow you to rise to a level of success that's extraordinary. And let me share with you why. There's actually a science. It's not just bring some people in a room, have somebody stand up, throw up a PowerPoint, or do some stuff and call it even. That's not what happens. There is actually a science and there's a psychology behind local meetings, and why those who understand it and embrace them effectively are so powerful. We'll actually do some more advanced stuff with this, but let me give you a general feel. First of all, whether you're doing something digitally or whether you're doing something locally, the reality is everyone goes through, there are 3 questions that someone who is evaluating, if you're approaching someone about possibly becoming a part of the team and joining the team and becoming a part of what you're creating, there are 3 questions they have. And you have to get them, they have to feel that those questions are answered comfortably for themselves. If not, they're not going to choose to participate with you. And if so, then you've succeeded. Let me start this way. A mentor of mine 23 years ago, the person who really turned around my first 2 years of failure in the profession to a road of success, here's what he shared with me, and it's interesting because I believed him then. Now I don't have to believe it, I know it. Because having, over the last 22 years, having now been a part of this profession on a global scale, having lived internationally, having run companies that had international operations, having built teams, still having teams today that operate internationally, I know that it's true. I believed it when I heard it from him, because I was willing to believe in what he taught me, but now I know it. And he'd said, Curtis, I can tell you exactly what every single person in every country, in every culture, regardless of ethnic background, regardless of location, I can tell you exactly what every single person who has ever signed up in network marketing for the very first time, I can tell you exactly the thought that went through their mind just before they decided to enroll. So every political belief, every spiritual belief, every ethnicity, every gender, every age, here's the thought that has gone through every single person's mind just before they enroll. After having seen all that they've seen, the thought that they have is there's something in my life that I want that I don't yet have. And I believe after seeing this and all the information that I have, I believe that if I do this with these people, I'm going to be able to achieve it. I'll enroll. That's the process. Whether it's a small objective, if I want to make an extra $200 or $300 a month as a grandmother to spoil my grandkids, whether it's I just want to pay off my student loan, whether it's I'm a teacher and I want to keep teaching but make a little more money, or I hate my career and I want to do something different, or I want to change the financial destiny of my family. Whatever it is that they want in their life that they don't have, that's the starting point. There's something that they want they don't have. And whatever that is, based upon what they've seen and the people they've met, they believe that if they do what you're offering them an opportunity to do with the people you're offering them an opportunity to do it with, they believe that it's possible that they're going to be able to achieve it. So they said yes. So here's what's happening during the presentation. These are the 3 questions that they have. Number 1, is it real? Is what I'm saying a bunch of hype, a bunch of fluff, or is it real? Number 2, what's in it for me? Because bottom line, I don't care if you're making a lot of money, I don't care if you got the flashy car, I don't care that you got the Jeep, I don't care anything about you. What's in it for me? And number 3, can I do this? Whatever it is that you're showing me, do I believe that I can do it? Have you presented to me in a way that, have you presented everything so that I actually, my skepticism has been addressed, and I believe that, okay, this makes sense, I see this, I believe this is real, okay, I got that part. What's in it for me? Because I don't care about what's in it for you, I care about what's in it for me. And if I know there's something in it for me and I know it's real, do I believe it's even possible? Can I do this? This is what we have to do in all ways in which we communicate. The magic of a local meeting is the ability to do this through the natural power of human connection and humanity, where when people come into that local environment, they see groups of people who obviously respect each other. They see groups of people who obviously enjoy each other. They see groups of people who obviously have fun together, and they see groups of people who are succeeding together. That's a very powerful, just the environment. Merely literally the sensation, the personality, the aura, whatever you want to use, the electricity, that intangible, when people come together in groups, because we're human beings, we're social animals, that can be very powerful. And here's what happens. If you look at a meeting, here's what we're doing. We're taking someone from a position of, is it real? What's in it for me? Can I do this? Because when people choose to do things, the old saying, stories sell, facts tell. We buy with our heart, we justify with our head. What we're saying is that we, first of all, have to be emotionally inspired, and then we will logically justify. So we have to have, there needs to be some logic in this. Again, is it real? There has to be some justification. In other words, what's in it for me? Can I do this? But ultimately, if we get someone emotionally connected, that's where we talk about, you're envisioning the visions of what you're trying to create in the future, your goals, your dreams, but that's where the emotional connection. Well, this is the process in anything that we do. So if we're going through an online hangout presentation, this is the journey we're taking them on. What's in it for me? Or is it real? What's in it for me? Can I do this? And then some validation. There needs to be validation of, can you do this? This is what we do. If you take a look at a meeting, typically meetings break down into 3 parts. And then it's because here's, first of all, this is the real part. Well, what makes it real? The real part is the company and the product. Why? Those are pretty factual things. They're not warm, fuzzy, and intangible. They're very clear-cut things. Here's a company. Here's the company statistics. Here's the company facts. Boom, 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 boom. The Bona Fide Mint story is a powerful story. We do this to answer the question, is it real? Here's the product. Okay, here's the science, here's the backing, here's the substance of what we're doing. This is the foundation of logic, so that in essence, the logic's taken care of. This is the process of everything we do. And then I'll show you how you actually break it down in a physical meeting. But this is the process. We've got it. We actually embed the logic first, so that's a done deal. Because the most complicated thing is, can they emotionally connect? Are they moved emotionally? Do they become excited? Phase two is what's in it for me. That's the compensation model. Well, obviously, that's the point. That's where the long-term reward is. The company and the product make sense. Well, the company, we're just establishing that this isn't a flaky organization. The product shows that there's potential in the market. So those are the logical things. But product shows market potential, because we all understand there are people who need to be more balanced with core nutrition, or the people who just need more energy but may as well be healthy, create mental clarity. The product shows there's a market. The compensation plan says yes, and there's something in it for you, because the market is so obviously significant, and the product so clearly meets the need of the market. What's one of the best ways to be successful in business? Find a need and fill it. So this part we're already saying, okay, great, I see what's in it for me. That makes sense. That's why when we do product, we've established the reality. When we do compensation, they're going, okay. The second thing is, can I do this? This is the single most important part, because this is what drives over the top to the peak of emotion. And this is why this part of the meeting right here, this is where the testimonials come in. Because it's not the person presenting who's telling them, convince them. This is where they get to see people just like themselves who share their stories. Here's what this product did for me. Great, I get it. That makes sense. That's why we have such a broad variety of product experience testimonials. Here's what the compensation plan has done. Here are people with no experience. They squared in their first 3 days. They squared in their first week. They squared in their first 15 days. They squared in their first month. They've squared now twice. In other words, what's in it for me? Here's how the comp plan works. And person after person after person, it's really not. In fact, during testimonials, it's not important you have people who are out there making $60,000 and $100,000 a month or what. You've got to understand, we're gearing this for the brand new person who's never done this before. To them, is it really real to think they're going to make $100,000? Of course not. It's what did the new people do? How fast did new people get going? How quickly did somebody get result on the product? How quickly did somebody at least get enough success in the business that they got their money back? And how quickly could they go into profit? It's not about how much profit. How simply, not easy, it's all hard work, never confuse easy and simple, but how simple was it for someone to move from initial registration into break-even, into profit, the three standard modes of business. That's why we talk about hot market. Hot market is so the second they enroll, they're immediately in an activity. Within a short period of time, they have returned, if not all, at least most of their money. A significant portion of the expense is returned. It proves to them the business is viable, and then they move quickly into profit. That's what the testimonials do. The product testimonials further prove there is power in the product marketing, or the product market space, and look at what its result is. You get results like that, obviously you can. Next, the compensation shows what in it for me, but they just told me that. The testimonials, that's why you put them at the end. The testimonials are what lock it down. But there's an actual structure to a meeting. And this is why local meetings done right are so powerful. And so some of these things we can break down in greater detail, but first, there's the setup. Is the meeting set up professionally? Meaning, is everything ready? Is it not people scrambling, the doors closed 15 minutes after it's supposed to start because somebody's still trying to set up the the overhead or the LCD projector, somebody's still trying to get the internet connection if you're going to do a live thing or whatever. Was it set up professionally? Was the room well lit? Was there some music, just light background music, so it's just it's a warm atmosphere. It seems cool, the typical Mint environment where it's hip and it's cool, but it's relaxed, it's warm, it's welcoming. Was the setup done properly? Is there a registration? Is there somebody to welcome someone? Is there teamwork in the setup? And when people are coming to meetings, does the leadership group, do the members understand, not only take your new guest with you to introduce to others so that and we're not pitching them, we're not putting pressure, hey, it's just great to meet you. Really, what do you do? Oh, awesome, that's wonderful. Well, listen, by the way, you might want to talk to Bill over there. He's been a school teacher as well. It might be a great perspective to have. Listen, it's great to have you. was from the setup, from the welcome and the registration. Do they feel that it's just comfortable and it's warm? When people are seated, are there people who are assisting there in the meeting to make sure that everybody is you don't have people coming in just sitting in the back. People are sitting at the front, and you fill from the front to the back. So we can go into this in more detail, but there's actually a science of how you execute a local meeting so that there are people that are there to help execute the structure of the meeting. There are people who are going to be presenting the information, and then everyone else is able to bring guests and just enjoy the experience, but everybody understands there is an experience. So is the setup done properly? When you go into execution of the meeting from the front of the room, there are multiple components. Number one, there's the MC. Their role is flow, is proper start and flow. Okay? Because how you start is how you are. Start and flow. For example, so the MC comes up. They do simple little things. They are the warm-up. They're letting people in, welcoming people. First of all, the MC does a little bit. They do a little bit of their personal story, okay? Because everything is about connection. So the MC gives a little bit about their, thanking and welcoming people. A couple of quick, interesting, things just to be aware of. But they've kind of laid the groundwork. By the way, please make sure you turn off your phones, or turn them to vibrate. We just don't want to interrupt either you. We want you to be able to not be distracted, and please make sure you don't distract others. That kind of thing. Simple setup, getting started, and then their story. Then they intro first speaker. Now, there's a minimum 3-person meeting execution process. The MC is a great role because it's a very simple role, and it's a great way to introduce people to becoming part of the front of the room process. One, there's not a lot you have to memorize. You just remember where the bathrooms are, ask people to turn their phones off, and again, we'll go through this in more detail, but there are certain things you go through. You go through the housekeeping rules, one of which is please hold all questions until the end, simply because many of your questions may be answered automatically as the information is completed. So if you've got questions, please jot them down, and at the end, we can make sure that we get you connected with the right people to get all the answers to questions. So they said turn off your phones, don't make any noise, please hold all questions till the end because you don't want to be distracting somebody in the middle. And other people who don't have questions, let's just let them get through the flow. It's very simple. They tell a little bit about their story. By the way, it's a pleasure for me to be here. There's actually a way to tell your story. We'll do that as a later training. But there is an actual way to share who you are, where you've been in the past, and how you got to where you are, even as the MC, because the stories create connection. Remember, can I do this? We're trying to create connection. And then they go into the intro. When they introduce the first speaker, they only do a few things, maybe 1, 2, or 3 items about the speaker. They do not tell that person's story, and they do not give the name of the speaker until the last. You're building the emotion. So the person we're going to start off with, she's an amazing individual. She's in her time with men, or in her time in the profession, here's 1 or 2 things that she's done that creates real credibility. It's not her whole story. It's just a couple of credibility things. But you're going to find that she's incredibly talented, and she's great. She's a great coach and mentor. She'll give you a wealth of information. Please welcome, to start off our meeting, Ms. Lisa Grossman. And the name is the last thing you share. It's like everything builds, and so just like they do, if you're at an award show, the next person to please welcome to the stage such and such. So it's a very simple process. Intro, 2 or 3 key items. The name is last. The first speaker comes up. The role of the first speaker, simple. Get people comfortable and connect. Part of that is they tell their story. Why? So that people are able to relate. So they share their story in more detail. They establish the foundation, and they do the company and the product. They are the real speaker. They cover this area. That's speaker number 1. So the MC starts, kicks it off to speaker number 1. Speaker number 1 begins with their story to create that complete depth of connection. They had credibility established by the MC, but their story creates connection. They go through company and product because that creates the reality. Then they intro second speaker. And so now, stage 3 of the meeting, second speaker. Okay? Second speaker, they do comp plan. But they start with their story. Why? The same way, the first speaker introduces the second speaker by 1 or 2 or 3 credibility issues, building to their name. Please welcome to share with you the business model and our reward model system. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Travis Flaherty. Boom. They've properly introduced them. They've created credibility, but Travis comes up and creates connection. Starts with his story so that there is connection. Can I do this? Yeah, wow, that's kind of the background I had. I got it. You know, frustrated with life, trying to look for something better. Goes story, does compensation. Here's where he's going through the process of this. Then the second speaker is the one who intros the testimonials. And what we'll do is we'll later do how you actually tell your story and how you give a testimonial. There's an actual science in both. How do you tell a story so it's told effectively? Hang on a second, just had something pop on my screen. Let me get back so I can see how we're waiting. Great. And then he brings up testimonials. So the second speaker right here, MC, there's speaker number 1, speaker number 2. Second speaker brings up the testimonials, and this is where the can I do this happens. Testimonials regarding product, testimonials regarding business model. And this is where the people who are going to be brought up, they're prepped, they understand how a testimonial is given, they understand how their story is given. They do a quick story, testimonial. Boom, boom, boom. Here I am, and there's actually a process in that. So that 4 is the meeting closes. You close the meeting so that now everyone can work with prospects individually. You know, and so that when the testimonials are finished, they stay on the stage. They do not leave. They stay there. They stay at the front. So the testimonials are done last. They're bam, 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 and they stay there while the second speaker wraps the meeting. Says, thank you so much. We know that many of you are certainly interested in probably getting started. Others may have questions. Whatever your current circumstance, let's just simply turn to the person who invited you, and they'll help you get any final questions answered or get started, or they'll direct you to those of us who can assist you. Boom. You don't take questions from the front. The meeting closes, and now you're able to work with the guests again. If you look at the whole process, because the setup was done professionally from the moment that they arrived, they were welcomed, they were greeted, everything was done in such a way that from the registration through the welcome to getting seated, they felt comfortable. They felt warm, they felt welcome, the room looked good, the mint, banners and signs and stand-up banner stuff, the people, it's just got that culture, it's got that feel that is certainly the legacy team, it's got feel and culture that is meant. And they're just going, wow, this is a nice group of people, and this is just a comfortable, these people are smiling, they're having fun, it's just a great thing. When it comes to the meeting execution is with precision. It follows literally a scientific, emotional process and logical process, but it's done so well that it's just casually comfortable. They don't realize there's this process. Again, MC is the start, get the housekeeping out of the way, make sure people are holding their questions, got their phones off, and then begins the connection process. Tells their story, connection, creating an introduction, couple of points, credibility. The first speaker comes up, they tell their story, create connection, they then move into the company and product. Is it Reels handled? They properly prepare for the second speaker, creating credibility. The second speaker comes up, begins with a story, talks about compensation, what's in it for me, done, boom. Very smoothly, the second speaker says, we'd now like you to hear from some others who, like yourself, having made a decision to be a part of this team or experience these products as consumers, they can share with you a little more depth. Boom, properly introduces the testimonials. These folks know exactly what they're doing. They're brought up. Everybody's brought up at once. It's not one of the, everybody's brought up. They're standing there, share a product story. These are the product folks. These are the compensation folks. Testimonials are done. They stay there on the stage. The speaker closes it out. Turns over. The precision is so masterful, there's no even appearance of precision. It just feels comfortable and warm. We've taken them right up to here. The can I do this? That if the testimonials are done poorly, they can kill the whole thing. If they're done properly, they take it to a peak. Those that it's right for are now emotionally connected to it. The logic was handled a long time ago. They like everybody. The questions were answered, and now the meeting can be successful. Here's what happens. In a local environment, following a simple process with just a simple step-by-step way to execute, using 3 people and then using these people to develop others to replace them so that now other meetings start to happen. Here's one of the most powerful measures of the success of your business. all the technology in the world is wonderful, and it can create broader reach, further reach. But I will tell you that if you look historically at our profession, some of the greatest wealth has been created by people in environments where, whether they started that way or not, eventually, whether it was through people inviting people to homes or people coming into local hotel or environmental meetings, some of the greatest wealth was created by people who built a foundation of strength, because the measure of the wealth was how many meetings, whether it's someone's home or somewhere else, how many meetings every day were taking place without your direct participation, following the exact same process, the exact same outline, and the exact same execution as when you do them yourself, or as when you attend any meeting. They are all exactly the same. And ultimately, as that spreads around the world, that's the measure of some of the greatest wealth ever established. Creating significant initial activity that uses all these technologies to reach out, but then being able to supplement it, where if there is a simple process, so if someone in a city somewhere else, if they're excited and enthusiastic enough, and even if they have to fill all 3 roles on day 1, because there isn't anybody else, but as quickly as possible they get somebody else to intro them, so at least they're just speaker 1 and 2. And then they get someone who's good enough to at least go through the company and the product, because that's pretty factual. Somebody who's just willing to stand up, who is willing to break through their fear enough just to get the company and the product information out. So someone else can MC. That's simple. Turn off your phones. Please hold your questions till the end. Here you go. If you have to, please, bathrooms are out to the left, and, please try not to distract. But, in fact, the MC probably ought to get up about 3 or 4 minutes before the meeting. He says, by the way, folks, we're going to start in 3 or 4 minutes. If anybody needs to take a last-second bathroom break, please step out and do that now. That way we won't distract during the meeting. Boom. So the MC, anybody can do. That's very simple. It's a good initial stage. If you can just get one person who can do product and company, and that's almost click the slides and read the slides. If you set them up, that's done. You only need really one person, and they can be in slot number 2 or the second speaker slot. That and testimonials, and meetings can grow. As they grow, they can duplicate. As they duplicate, then all of a sudden you're laying a foundation that's rock solid. So this may not be where we start today, but as Travis runs around for meetups, this is the process. Well, and however it's done. A home meeting with 7 or 8 friends, whether it's on conference calls, you'll notice that the reason the processes go like this is the journey and the path we're taking people along, so they have all the information, but most importantly, in the right order and in the right way. Because we know that every single person who has ever enrolled, the last thought that has gone through their mind that caused them to say, I'm going to do this is, there's something in life that I don't have that I want. And I believe, now that I believe this is real, and now that I've seen that there really is something in it for me, and now that I've seen that other people just like me have been able to do this, I believe that if I do this with this group of people, because I've been connected to them, I'm emotionally feeling comfortable with them, I think if I do this with these people, I could get everything I've ever wanted. Great. Count me in. Let's go. And that's the evolution. That's why we believe the greatest lost art is meetings and localized meetings, even if you continue to do everything else. The fun thing about it is, as you build groups that one day have meetings all over the country and eventually all over the world, as you travel, people say, are you working? Say, no, I'm just going to visit my money. That's the power of creating this type of duplication, where localization of emotional connection and relationship, then supported by reaching out through all these technologies we have, it's the combination of the two that can create great power long term. Anyway, whoops, be careful with the word. That's what we wanted to take a moment and share and talk about today, the power of meetings, because I know that Travis is out there getting ready to do that. Let me check real quick and just see if we had anybody pop in. I don't see any questions. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to throw them in real quick, and I'll address anything. If not, it's a great mechanism to come back and refer to on recording, and then we're going to work with Travis to create what will be meetup structure and process. So if you want to start creating meetups in a local area and then have them expand, and then as you have team members who may drive 30 or 45 minutes or an hour, as they get comfortable that it's actually a very simple process. Again, you only need one person who's really got it kind of figured out and feels comfortable presentation to have a 3-stage, because anybody could be the MC. Listen, just tell them to turn off their phones and hold questions till the end, be nice, smile, and then introduce Fred. Fred, just read the slides. It's not going to be real pretty at first, but we get great by doing things and stumbling through until you get them. And then finally bring me up, because I really have, whoever that is, I'm willing to take the meat of the meeting, which is really the compensation model and testimonials. It's really simple to do it, and then all of a sudden, that Tuesday event down at the Hilton becomes the powerful event locally. And then what happens is, because this, by the way, is a process of not being the person who does it every time, it's becoming the process of developing the people who do it while you step away. The idea is you may start as an MC one day, then you become the person who reads the slides just to create the reality, then you become the person who does that presentation. Then what you do is you coach others, and all of a sudden you let others do this part, and you may be backstop on the back end, and what you're doing is you're developing people who are capable of doing it all of a sudden. Listen, this one's good. You guys have it. I'll visit occasionally. Jane said she wanted to start one. I'm going to go help her on Tuesday night start hers. And all of a sudden, these things pop up, they grow, and they develop, and they build their own strength while you, as your team grows. So meetings is a great stage. It's a great evolution of the power of network marketing relationships. So looks like we've got a couple people just saying, hey, listen, it's great information, and we appreciate that it was. And this is will evolve into where this was general information about the psychology of them. This is why those of us who are the dinosaurs, we've been doing this for 2.5 decades, and we started way back when none of this other stuff existed. About the fanciest technology back then was maybe a pager, a beeper. That's why we were so successful at those times. There was a science, and as Eric had asked, what was something you used to do with great success that you just don't do much anymore? And I think the local meeting is a lost art. If it's a regained art, we are seeing, literally, truly, historically throughout our profession in this country and around the world, some of the most giant, fastest growing companies support and supplement online execution of reach with local execution of a relationship. And I think if you're able to do that as a group and as a team, it's going to be a powerful win-win for you and for your team and for your teammates. So anyway, there you go on a Wednesday. It's been great to spend a little bit of time with you. We'll see you again, same time, same place next week. And I know Travis again this week. I know he's traveling a lot with meetups around, and all this is going to kick in. So there will be more depth on some of this stuff, really how to package a story, so it's really quick in 30 to 45 seconds, how to package a testimonial, really quick, 30 to 45 seconds, 8-minute testimonials. They're horrific. You never want to do them. So we'll give you that as updates later. But putting all this together, anyway, hope it's been a great day for you guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.